Hello, guys. Yep, just sitting here with my pencil again. Let's see if I can get a little less. Yeah, you can't see my face very well with that light in the background, can you? Oh well. Oh well. Because it's the only one I got. And anyway, so that's not what this video is about. It is about not me trolling my pencil. It's about how I got off a video game addiction, to say the least. And I would just tell you how I got off of it, but it's a bit of a story. So, if you must, get a snack. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, and as you can see, I don't have music again because I tried listening to music on my last video and it fucking sucked in quality. It did not come out right, to say the least. But also, you know, this video is not scripted. So let's get on with it. Oh, where do I start? I'd say the last time. Man, that light is bright. The last time, looking back at it, I would have to say how I got off of video game addiction. The first thing you gotta kind of think about really is just being aware of the fact that you're addicted in the first place, to be honest. And, of course, for a short while, for I guess the first couple of years I was addicted, I really did not know that I was addicted to video games, to say the least. And I'd say when I first was addicted to video games was about when I was maybe 16, 15 years old. And I was still homeschooled when I was 15 years old. I was playing video games a lot at the time. It could have even been at the age of 14, goddamn. But yeah, you could say I had a video game addiction. I had a really bad video game addiction, to say the least. I'm gonna take off my glasses, to say the least. I'm gonna set them here. And that camera does not look right, does it? But anyway, so going through my video game addiction, I kind of, it was really hard getting out of it, to say the least, especially by yourself. But, if you kind of figure it out, you eventually kind of learn a pattern and you kind of get to it. And the only way that I was really effectively able to get out of video game addiction was when I first moved out of my parents' place back when I was 21. So yeah, I was addicted for years, to say the least. But it's because when I was going through school and everything, I did not have the time to just go out and be social. I just did not. And coming out of homeschool, I thought I would be able to make the time. I'd be able to make friends, go out and do things. But that just was not the case. Plus, that was also the time period that I learned that I turned from an extrovert to an introvert, to say the least. But, of course, that didn't help either, to say the least. It did not help at all. Which is why it was so hard to getting out of video game addiction in the first place, to say the least. And, of course, dealing with my parents and how strict they were, and they always tried keeping me busy, and so then that just made it even worse. I was always stressed out. I was always working. Sometimes I was literally just working 24-hour days. Not just with school, but just with other things, whether it's a chore or just dealing with something or other. You could say I didn't exactly have a lot of sleep at the time either, so that didn't, of course, help it out either, to say the least. And yeah, man, looking back at that was a really strange time period. A really strange time period. And the only fun thing that I can make the time for was video games, because with a video game console, it's sitting there waiting for you at any point. You could just flip it on and you could just play something. It doesn't yell at you. It doesn't do anything negative towards you or anything. You just have fun with it, right? That, and of course, that dopamine effect that we've all heard about. But as I moved out, though, when I was 21, the whole video game addiction thing just kind of continued on and on for at least another few years. But even then, my life was kind of getting better and better and better as each year went on, to say the least. And of course, there's a lot of people at the time that weren't taking a liking to me at the time and were very negative. And of course, that exactly didn't help. In fact, it would have been a lot quicker getting out of my video game addiction if things weren't so negative at the time, to say the least. But, life is life. Enough about that. This is about the video game addiction. And let's see, what's next? And part of, I guess, how you could say I got out of it is that I managed to find other things that were positive, other than video games. Because for a little while, the only thing that was positive, actually, in my life, now that I think about it, was, the experiences I had when I played video games, which in a way is kind of sad to say, but it's true. And sadly, it's more sad. It's actually true for more people than it should be, to say the least. But, And yeah, so the first part of it is being aware of the fact that you have a video game addiction and accepting that fact. And, accepting the hard reality, to say the least. That, the fact that you aren't normal. Or that the kind of normal, define normal. But, I think you get my point. Nobody is special. We all have our problems. And yeah, the video game addiction was definitely my problem at the time. Until I was about at least 24, 25 years old. Just a few years ago. That's just crazy. And, you also kind of gotta you gotta do things at the opportune time. You gotta wait till you're ready to kind of start getting off of something. You gotta be prepared, to say the least. And, you also sometimes you even got to have other hobbies to kind of help distract you a bit, I guess. Just like I'm distracting you with my pencil twirling right now. But I think you get my point. And whatever you do, don't do another addictive thing to get rid of another addictive thing, because that just does not fucking help. And it's like putting gas in the flame. It's not going to help a damn thing. So yeah, look for something else that is positive and that you can do besides, let's say playing video games. And I know for some people these days, it's going to be very hard for them to find something else besides playing video games or being on their phone. Yeah, being on your phone isn't exactly going to help with the video game addiction, because it's almost like the same thing in a way. It kind of comes from the same premise, with dopamine and everything. But anyway. So, where should I go from there? But yeah, you gotta find other things. Like what I've liked to do sometimes is do art. Although sometimes I don't even have the time for it, or I'm too tired. That's one thing you could do. Just anything that's, constructive, to say the least. It doesn't have to do with computers and stuff. Just, do that. But also just kind of take it easy. You know what I mean? Like, if you play every single day like I used to, like, say, take a day off from it and do something else. Just take one day off from that week and do something else. Just anything else. It doesn't matter. And just like, I don't even care if you like bird watching, just do that. And that's what I started doing one day. I just started taking one day off a week from not playing video games. And I just kind of continued from there. I started taking days off. Of course, like I said before, wait till you're prepared to get off a little and, and all that. And, I just kept on doing that. I mean, sometimes there are actually days now, for almost a week now, I don't even play video games. But, there are times when I'm also just too tired to play video games. I mean, luckily I don't work as much as I used to, thank God. But, I mean, I guess work can be another thing that you can do, but, But not only is it what you have to do, but you also have to come to the realization of certain things as well. And that's ultimately what did it for me. I think finally the game that kind of, out of all of the games I played, that I finally really realized it. First, it was Borderlands. Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Borderlands, the pre-sequel is the first one I was kind of getting to at that point of realization. And then, the first Division game. I was running around and all I was doing was getting better weapons and leveling up in this game, just like with Destiny. And I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? I mean, I'm not even having as much fun with this game right now. I just keep on doing the same thing over and over again to get the next better weapon or the next better armor or whatever to level up. And that's basically all I'm achieving in this game right now. And the story mode was fucking linear as hell. Same with Destiny. Very generic. Very, very generic. And yeah, you kind of come to that realization of what is the fucking point of playing all these games and all this. Because when you complete something in a video game, it makes you feel good inside and everything. It makes you feel like you've achieved something. But the truth of the matter is that it kind of doesn't lots of times, in a way. I mean, you really aren't achieving anything in a video game. We aren't really at that. I mean, video games are the next sport. They're the new sport. That's the thing that people are into now as a sport, and it's becoming more and more into that. But for now, when you play video games, I mean, you really aren't achieving much of anything, especially if you aren't really having much fun with the game in the first place, and all you're trying to do is just get the next armor and get the next weapon, and then what? You see my point? I mean, I see all these people, all these kids, even people that are older than me, they're trying to get the next armor to level up. And I guess because they feel like they've achieved over somebody else sometimes, so they feel like it's a real achievement to them. But yeah, I mean, the real reality is that, I mean, you're gonna get all the armor packs and everything eventually, and then what? I mean, you beat the game, and now what? You just put another video game and do the same thing. That and the fact that people have lost marriages over video game addiction. They've lost marriages. It's ruined their life, their real life. They lose their girlfriends, their marriages, the people they care about, etc., even their jobs. They lose everything over video game addiction and over nothing. over a dopamine drug that they have become addicted to, and that's it. And so it's a really, really big problem. It's, and I mean, you really do gotta face you really do gotta face the reality, because that reality is eventually gonna hit when the electric bill that comes up next that you can't pay anymore because you don't have a job anymore because you stopped going to work because you're addicted to video games, and then the lights are going to go out. You realize that you're probably never going to see your family again, and you're going to face the consequences, because it does happen, and it happens a lot more often than you think. I've even seen it to people. I've seen it happen to people that I know, and some guys, they are still stuck with their parents. They're still living with their parents, and they're probably over 30 years old. Never have been moved out before. It is just insane. But yeah, especially coming to that realization was the push that made me get out of video game addiction. And nowadays, I only maybe play video games. Sometimes there'll be days when I'll play video games for half a day or something. But it's definitely not like it used to be. Like maybe no more than a couple times a week. Sometimes I'll play video games, and then there are those days my brother will come over, and then I won't feel like playing video games. But yeah, you really got to realize what is the point. What is the point of playing these video games like this? And then another game comes out, and people are all excited about the next game that comes out. I mean, Jesus Christ! Even if I played video games 24/7, I would never be able to keep up with all the video games that come out nowadays. I mean, nowadays it's just like I used to actually try to keep up with all the good games, and now it's just like, what is the point? Because nowadays you just can't even keep up. Now I can't even do that. I can't keep up with all these games that come out. That, and being a gamer, again, also, it's really expensive being a gamer these days and having more than a few games. It really is expensive when you really add everything up, and having the right setup and everything, and having to update everything. It's fucking expensive these days. Not only do you have to just get the console and get the game anymore, now you have to buy the DLC that comes out. It used to be you just go to the store and get the game and a console, and that's it. Maybe a couple extra controllers, you're good. That's all you need. And nowadays it's like extreme. You need to pay thousands, and even beyond thousands of dollars, just to get the right setups, so that you can have the full-on experience with these games nowadays. And yeah, it's fucking expensive. I remember last generation, when I was still like the biggest part of my video game addiction, and I was trying to keep up with all the good games at the time and play all the good games on Xbox 360. I mean, I must have spent like fucking thousands of dollars playing video games, and even buying new video games that I ended up not liking, and etc. etc. I mean, it really is. It's like a curse. It's fucking bad. And when I looked, because at one point I actually had to sell my 360 and all of its games, and I didn't get much back compared to how much I spent on it over a period of time, And I just looked at that as I deleted my old profile and all my old memory, all the courses I had made and worked hard on at the time and everything. And I just thought to myself, wow, Blake, I just spent like, what, almost a decade of, video game playing and hard work on video games and all that and fun. Was it worth it? No, it was not fucking worth it. Let me tell you, it was not fucking worth it. It really was not. Let me tell you. But yeah, finally, of course, a few years ago, what of course also did it was the fact that I just got tired. The only negative, really negative thing about video games, well, besides being addicted to them, sometime at some point, is the fact that you can't relax. You can't ever relax because playing video games can take a lot of focus. It takes a lot of focus, especially if you're playing something like racing video games and stuff. Like it takes a lot of focus to play video games and be really good at them. It really does. I remember I used to be really good at killing in Halo Reach. Nowadays I get killed all the time because I'm not really as good at killing in video games as I used to be. But that's just whatever to me because there's other games to play. There's other things to do. There's definitely a lot of other things to do. There are a lot of other things to do, to say the least. But yeah, I was working all the time at one point because my job was being very demanding, and I seriously couldn't rest because I kept on trying to play video games every day. And I was like, Blake, you really have to stop. You really have to stop. You really, really have to stop. This has gone on long enough. You really have to stop. Just stop. And I was finally like, yep, yeah, I'm gonna stop doing this. I've kind of gotten over video games a bit. I've gotten over them a bit, and I'm at a point where I can just kind of move on from playing video games every day, and grow up and move on. Yeah, I mean, you've got to grow up eventually. I'm 28 years old now, almost 29 years old. I'll be 29 years old here in May. Then I'll be almost 4 years without video game addiction, and I hope that keeps up. Because yeah, let me tell you, it's not good. It's not good at all. But with that being told or being said, I'll let that be the end of the video, I guess. And hopefully you guys actually managed to make. How should I say it? Hopefully you guys made it through the whole video without getting too bored, because I'm sure this is a boring video. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye.